Life doesn't come with an instruction manual.
So we made one.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm Maciek.
And this is the Solutions Manual podcast, your guide to making the most of your life, health, career, and relationships.
Subscribe, leave a comment, and share. Let's dive into our next episode.
Okay, well, welcome back to the Solutions Manual podcast. We're here with Phill Tarling. Phill, thank you so much for being here with us today.
I'm so excited to be talking about something that has ignited my world for nearly 30 years and something that speaks so much louder than words, our image.
Yeah. So tell us about your history, and 30 years is a long time. Can you introduce yourself to our broader audience, and then what is image?
So when I was 21, a very long time ago, I left Wales and I came to London to train at the BBC in this high, really tense, terrifying environment, working under huge pressure with zero margin for error, working with high profile people.
Yeah.
I mean, for a 21-year-old from Wales in London at the BBC, it was terrifying.
Culture shock. Man.
Scary.
Such a culture shock.
Yeah.
I did that for 7 years, working in film and TV as a dresser, as a trainee dresser. And then in 97, I discovered the world of styling, what that was. I didn't even know in 1997 that this was a career option. I thought it was a stepping stone. And here I am, X amount of years later, the image coach, where I look after people in the public eye, busy professionals, high net worth individual, and I help them transform. I help them when men particularly know they need to change something, but they don't know what it is. They reach out and they come for expert help just to help them dress a better version of themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's me. That's the image coach. That's Phill Tarling in a nutshell. That's my 30-year journey.
Yeah.
Yes, 30 years and 30 seconds. Yeah, well done.
So what is image? Because I think people might think of your appearance, but it's probably much more than simply what you wear, right? So what is image?
It is so much more than what you wear. It is like a trailer, like a movie trailer to your own life, to your personal brand. It's a cover to your own book of your life.
Yeah.
It's like a trailer of your life, right? It's not, I think that, for example, what I used to believe before, that if you need to create an image, it means that there's something fake going on. But I know from working with you, that's completely not the case, right? The image is a condensed version of who you really are, right? And how you want to come across, right? Bringing your best self. So maybe we'll go into a few examples. I know it's transformative. I learn a lot about the why. I would like to hear from you about the examples from your professional experience, how changing an image changes someone else's life, right? This knockoff effect it can have on individuals' career, relationships, whatever, wherever we apply it to.
So image is like a silent message that you are transmitting before you say a word, before you start to convince people about what it is you need to talk to them about or communicate or share. It's a silent message. And within a nanosecond, we have decided on your posture, on the way that you walk into a room, on your grooming, on your smile, on your confidence level, on everything that you're projecting, the cover of your book that you're putting out there, the trailer to your personal branding is projecting before you say a word. That is image. It's not, and it is something you can take control of. It's something that it's a story and a narrative that you can decide before other people make a decision on you, like a book. When we look at a book or a movie, we see the trailer, we see the cover, and we think, you know what? That is not for we. That's not for me. That is not something I want to watch. That's not. But we all universally recognize when a man dresses well. When somebody dresses to their best, universally, wherever you are in the world, we can recognize that is a snappy dresser. That's somebody who's made an effort. That is someone who woke up this morning and has intentionally dressed well. And that doesn't happen by accident. That is somebody who is aware that they want to project, they want the trailer to their branding, to the cover of their book, to the cover of the book of their life. They want to they want to send that message, and that's image.
Wow.
Yes, and
Yeah.
so we intuitively know it works. Although sometimes we want to believe that there's that is more important of who we are on the inside or who we want to be, right? But we all do subconscious decisions or make subconscious decisions purely on the way people appear to us. You've mentioned confidence. So what is confidence? What makes men confident?
So I teach on this. I've written my own course on how to be a stylist, and a little part of this I talk about what is confidence, because often people think, and I used to think this, that confidence is just being an extrovert, but actually extroverts can be extremely annoying, not confident.
Right.
One assumes that confidence is volume, like the amount of volume in a room and occupying a conversation and being the loudest and having an opinion is confidence. But actually, I have discovered that it's quite the opposite, that introverts can be confident. I teach introverts how to be confident. And confidence is occupying a space without having to talk. It's a friendly smile, it's a nod, it's a vibe, it's something. When people talk about what's the X factor, confidence is something like that. You know when somebody has it, but you can't always explain what are the bricks that have made that. You can't pinpoint it exactly. What is it? But what I have learned in that transformation process is that when I've helped a man elevate from where they are to a better version of themselves, the consequence of that
Yes.
is not just a growth, but this super boost in confidence that impacts not just their personal world, their professional world, and their productivity. And I know it sounds like an insane marketing ploy. Why would you have a stylist? Because it boosts your productivity. It sounds too good to be true, but it's not. I have reviews. Matt, you might be able to blow me out of the water with this, but I have reviews that say that their confidence level has gone through the roof just because they are wearing clothes that fit and flatter their form. They're wearing clothes where their work colleagues are suddenly going, I like your jumper today, or I really like how you've shown up today. They're not saying, I really like your stylist work, because what I do is I make myself invisible. Matt, I don't know about you, but we've had a styling session and I help tidy you up. That's what I think I do. I'm not. When we talk about transformation, I don't take you from A to B and make you a completely different person. The whole point of a stylist, for me, the whole point of me as a styling process, as an image coach, is to take you from where you are. How can I make you a better version of yourself so that nobody notices, but it looks like you're making more of an effort, that you're dressing more intentionally? And Matt, you would know more than anyone how this has affected you.
It affected me. Yes, it has. I've been lucky and privileged to have the chance to work with you. It is transformative. I can assure of that. And the amount of cognitive load taken off of me thinking, what do I wear every morning? That on its own is worth the going through that on that journey. Just that. Even if we ignore all the other downstream consequences or byproducts of that decision, 100%. So thank you, Phill. And actually, we'll probably go back to this because there's fascinating research in that space, which I wasn't even aware of, right? And we work a lot with people, right, on things like confidence, authority, credibility, right? These are all byproducts of looking in a particular way, or also putting an effort to it, because those are the things that are subconsciously perceived by people.
Yes.
I've seen some of your posts on social media, and one thing that draws my attention is that maybe this is just me, but I have a lot of male friends who typically have partners, and they refer to them that they waste money on clothing or spend money on clothing. You refer to purchasing clothes as an investment. So tell us more about this, because I think it's a small difference, but it makes a profound impact, right? We already talked about authority, credibility. What else are we investing in when we choose to work with an expert or buy quality fitted clothing, and why does it matter?
So you talked about investing and why I help men invest in better clothes. One of the things I discovered about men is that often men don't have bandwidth for shopping. They don't have time for shopping. Generally speaking, shopping is a recreation for women. Women enjoy shopping. I'm talking in generalities here.
Yeah.
Okay. So generally speaking, it is a recreation for women, which is why women can spend all day shopping, and they can look at one thing first thing in the morning and look at something and say, oh, I really like the shoes, I really like the top, I really like this item, but I am going to spend all day looking at similar things and other things just because I can. And they will spend all day retaining every single detail of every item that they've seen and how that fits in their wardrobe and what that will go with. And a strong probability that they will go back to that very first item that they have seen and will purchase it.
Yeah.
That's generally how women, it's recreation. But for men, it's not recreation, it's function. It's
exhausting.
It's exhausting. It is exhausting because men don't have bandwidth for this. Men are not interested in it being a recreation. Sport is a recreation. Drinking is going to the pub is a recreation. Shopping is probably one of the most painful things men have to do, which is why men and women often fall out over shopping. So men don't have bandwidth for this. Men don't have time. Men don't have knowledge. Men don't have vocabulary. Men can tell you what they don't like, but they can't often tell you what they do like. My job is to decode that. What do you like? What don't you like? Let's start there. You can probably tell me what you don't like. When men do shop, it's usually in an emergency. It's because they have an event and they're like, oh my gosh, I don't know, I haven't got anything. I'm going to go and buy something really quickly. And they buy it. It doesn't fit. It doesn't work. It doesn't coordinate. But it's an emergency.
I mean, it's true. I mean, the first thing I look at for when I enter a clothing store is a place to sit. Not necessarily what would fit my image or wardrobe or
Not what will fit, but where you can sit. Because often men will spend more time sitting than they will. And I have done this with my own children. I've done this with my own daughters. I've taken them shopping and I've said, right, you have a browse. You call me in an hour when you're ready to try stuff on, because that's how long they will wander around. And I will be in a coffee shop.
Yeah.
And this is my job. This is my job. I don't have bandwidth for browsing unless it's a professional paid job, but it is focused. It is focused. So what I talk about investment, because this is about pre-planning. It's about pre-thinking. It's about looking at your wardrobe. What are the gaps? What is it you have in your wardrobe?
Yes.
I mean, what do you have in your wardrobe? Why do you have that in your wardrobe?
Right.
You're not wearing that. Get rid. Let's have a look at your wardrobe. A man's wardrobe works best when there's less, but it's versatile. Men need a wardrobe that works as hard as they do. They don't need a variety. They just need versatility. And when we talk about investment, when I talk about investment, this is what I'm talking about. A wardrobe, it could be capsule, it's full of essentials that for any given moment in time, your wardrobe is prepared. That's the investment I talk about. When I take men on a styling trip, it's usually 3 to 4 hours. We cover so much ground. Men go home with, I'd hate to think how many bags of clothes you went home with, Matt, but I know men on average go home with 5 to 10 bags of clothes. And they say to me, there is no way that I'm wearing the stuff in my wardrobe again. This this
This is it.
this
Yeah.
is it. This is
Yeah.
it. And men often can't go back to their old clothes, or they put their old stuff on and they'll go, this feels terrible. This feels big. This feels unsuitable. This doesn't touch me in the same ways the stuff that you've helped me buy today. That's investment. And
Yeah.
the overflow of that investment is seen in confidence,
Yes.
is seen when they turn up to work, when they show up in meetings, when they're meeting face to face. The return on that investment, if you're working in a bank, if you're a partner, if you're a CEO, the return on that is often millions.
Immense.
Yes.
It's
Yes, it is.
millions.
Yes.
It is, and even not the convenience. I think one of the biggest things that I'm grateful for is the convenience, because it's difficult for me now to put the things that I need to put in myself when I leave home without thinking about this, and kind of a knowing that it kind of works together regardless of what it is, without putting conscious effort, because I will probably never be an expert. But I know that you can have a wardrobe designed in a way that it's actually really difficult to mess up. So thank you, Phil. That's very helpful. But so let's go back to this credibility bit, because we talk now about how we are being seen by other people. So there's a fascinating study that we have come across related to human behavior, where the impact of clothing stretches way beyond just the perception, which I find absolutely fascinating. It was repeatedly done, repeatedly conducted, replicable experiment in social sciences, where the researchers took 3 groups of people and they asked them to do always the same cognitive task to see how they perform. It was an image comparison looking for certain details. So very, very basic, but repeatable, standardized tests to see how perceptive you are, how much attention you pay, how quickly you can cognitively process certain tasks. And the participants were divided into 3 different groups. And they were given the same instructions and exactly the same wording, with one difference. They were asked to wear something that looked like a white lab coat. But one group was said, you will be wearing a doctor's coat. The second group was told they will be wearing a painter's coat. And the third one, they will be wearing a coat. But they all received the same white cloth that they put on themselves. And what has been shown is that repeatedly, that the group that has been told that they're receiving doctor's coat performed significantly better in every single assessment, regardless of the time of the setting. Same experiment, always. And those that were told that it's a painter's cloth or told nothing, there were no differences between them, and they performed worse than the group that believed or were told that this is a doctor's outfit. This is fascinating because it means that it's not just how we are perceived, how other people respond to us changes in response to what we are wearing, but our behavior, our outcomes, and our performance changes if we have a belief that we look in a particular way. I find this study fascinating because I can see that impact on myself. And this is very subtle, but it exists.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you have stories and examples from your clients when a small transformation, big life impact. I find it absolutely mind-blowing.
I can tell you that credibility is woven into clothes that fit and flatter your body shape. Full stop. Our brains, in a nanosecond, assess people in front of us, whether we like it or not, whether we believe that we judge people based on what's on the inside. We might think we do that. We want to believe that, but we can't stop our brain assessing in a nanosecond the same judgment. And it is, we make a judgment call, and the same judgment call that we make on somebody in front of us about their trustworthiness, whether they're warm, whether they're cold, whether they're competent, whether they're educated, whether they're wealthy, We make all those in the snap of a finger, in the same way that we decide whether or not we're going to ignore an email, or whether an email is junk, or whether it's important in a nanosecond,
Yes.
whether we swipe left or right on a dating app in a nanosecond based on how somebody looks.
Judges give different sentences, lower sentences, to people for the same crime if they're dressed better in court.
It's
right?
a
Yes.
fact, which is why when you go to court, the team that represents you always say, go dress formal, wear a
Yes.
suit, look the best you can, because it somehow has an impact. What we're projecting, the cover of our book. In my very own experience, I had an appointment with my doctor relatively recently, and you know how difficult it is to get an appointment with your GP in the UK. I went to my doctor, and it wasn't the doctor I see all the time. In the UK, you don't get that luxury. I'm in a GP practice. My doctor was obese. I did not hear a word he said. I spent the whole time looking at him, and I reflected on this. I wasn't conscious that I was doing it, but when I left, and my wife said to me, "What did the doctor say?" I went, "I have no idea." Why did I have no idea? Because I spent the whole time looking at him, thinking, "How can you give me advice? You're fat. You're like beyond fat. You're in the medical. You're a medical profession, and you're going to counsel me about my health
lifestyle or health." Yeah.
And I judged this man, rightly or wrongly. I needed the advice.
Well, it's the
I
reality.
waited, and it's the reality.
What it is. We've talked about this in when it comes to executive interviews.
Yes.
Because a similar situation, I happened to overhear a bunch of interviews going on in a public place, so I wasn't, waiting outside the door. But the reality was there are two candidates. They both wore suits, but one of them had a very hard time physically walking up the 3 steps to get to the table, very, very overweight, said all the right things on paper, very eloquent, and kind of was well prepared. But the reality was, because you could see it on the face of the interviewer, oh, no, this isn't the guy. And maybe the other person, in comparison, based on the answers he gave, they were very suboptimal compared to the other person. But the reality is he won't get the job. He just won't. And many other people experience this. And so when you work with executives who are maybe already at a level where they know they need to wear a suit, right? Because that's built into their job expectation. But that's very different than wearing the clothes that then give you that credibility and that confidence to, it's the same in sportswear. You will exercise differently if you wear an oversized shirt that hangs versus if you wear fitted clothing that actually allows your body to move. It applies to not just how you show up in executive, but so when it comes to, men who are maybe not used to that level of trying things on, do you see that sort of split-second judgment of themselves too? Or what happens when a man starts putting on different clothes? Maybe they're fitted differently than they've ever worn before. You mentioned the study for the performance. It had an impact on how you view yourself too. And you can still give all the right answers. You can still show up to the board meeting. You can still present, but it does speak louder than words, right? So how does that look in practice?
So I've got the theory and the practice.
Okay.
And the theory I talk about during the consultation, the documents online, I ask my clients to fill it in. It's comprehensive. And when I meet face to face with a client, I go through each question. Matt, you will know this. And Matt is a classic example. When Matt turned up, he was wearing clothes that did not fit and flatter his body shape. And during the consultation, fair? During the consultation, I point this out. And I talked about that his clothes were too big. And I talked about why they don't fit and flatter and the benefit of having clothes that fit and flatter his body shape and how different he would feel. And I talked about the theory. And then during the styling one-to-one session, I apply that theory. So it's no longer just my thoughts.
Yes, abstract. Yes.
It's in the changing room. It happens in real time. And that's when the penny drops.
Yeah.
That's when that theory goes from theory to a living practice. Men see how different they look in a good way in clothes that
Yes.
fit their body.
Yes.
And that's when we see it. That's when there's an acknowledgement. It's a
100%.
changing room transformation moment that men rarely go back.
Yeah.
They rarely go back to their old clothes. They rarely believe after this moment that clothes that are too big for them fit, and clothes that are too big for them are is how they want to be
maybe
seen.
they
Yes.
It's no longer
feel
suitable.
good in those clothes,
Yeah.
right? I mean, even
Yeah.
if they don't really know how to explain it.
Yeah. So they might not be able to explain that, but when they see how infinitely better they look in that changing room. Matt, you had that moment. I think you were one of the people that I work with that said, I don't think I can go back into my old clothes.
I did, but for me, that moment came later. It was more of the responses from others rather than assessment of myself, because my thinking at the time was, I don't really think it matters. Now it's like I'm now completely on a different side of the fence, and you're right. It matters a huge amount, right? And but the realization for me came later. It was the response of the environment that is difficult to ignore. And I think that's for me where the penny dropped.
And part of the process when I work with a client, I say for a few weeks after, send me photographs or let me know how you get on. And Matt, you may have done this as well. And it's that feedback where clients say, people have noticed.
Yeah.
People are saying things, because people never used to say things. People
Right.
are saying things. People are commenting, and this is what, Matt, you're talking about, where suddenly they're realizing, oh my gosh,
It matters.
oh my gosh,
Yes.
this is a game changer.
Yes, and I think the other thing is that you've mentioned this, and I think it's a very important message as well, is you don't need to be a different person or look, your body doesn't need to be different. It's the outfit that needs to fit your body shape. And I think that's also an important thing, right? You don't need to wait before making that decision for years, months, until you become or never become whoever you think you should be. You can benefit from that straight away, right? There's no need to postpone that decision if it matters. So speaking of that, how can this be, let's say, weaponized, if that's a word to use? So how can people strategically use their image to advance, to advance your career or improve your relationships?
Okay, 3 easy wins. 3 easy wins. First one, as we've discussed, clothes that fit and flatter your body shape is important, whatever your shape is. So I'm not talking about 6-foot gents that have got a 38 chest and a 32, the standard model. I'm not talking about the standard model size. I'm talking about all men of all age, of all shapes, can find clothes that fit and flatter their body shape. Okay, that's the premise I'm starting from. 3 easy wins. Number 1, put your tailor on speed dial. I mean, even I go into shops, and I'm not an unusual shape, but I go into shops, when I buy stuff, I take everything to my alterations guy. And even if I have half an inch or 3/4 of an inch taken up from the bottom of my trousers, small changes make a big difference. To cuffs on jackets, taking them up half an inch. People think, oh, it's only half an inch. But when you start changing those details, Matt, you've been here. When you start changing those small details, it makes a big difference. Alterations person on speed dial number 1.
Okay, that's great.
Okay. And the other two?
The other
Yeah.
two, secondly, is classic and timeless clothes. Invest in classic, timeless clothes that when they're in your wardrobe, they coordinate, they work together. You're not chasing fashion, you're not chasing trends. You're wearing clothes that support your credibility. And then thirdly, particularly for first impressions, because we don't get a second chance to make a first impression. That sounds like a cliche, but research suggests that once somebody has made a first impression of you, it's like when you're when you're cementing in a post into the ground and it's set and you realize it's on the wonk and then you want to try and correct that. It's hard to, it's impossible. The work you need to put into correcting that, it's insane. It's the same with it's the same with first impressions. So nail it the first time. So color palette, yes, you might be slightly fancy. Yes, you might be experimental in your clothes. Yes, you might like bold, strong choices, statement pieces. But if you're going into meetings with people and it's sober, then think about your color palette and have for the first time you're meeting people, find a color palette that's sober. Navy is, as a color, is good job you're wearing navy today, Matt. I'm wearing navy.
Good advice. Good advice.
It is because it's when men wear navy, it is signed as it might be conservative, but there is confidence. Blue is a very confident color. It inspires confidence and calm and trustworthiness. These are three words associated with the color blue. So I teach gents,
yes,
have blue, have navy in your wardrobe. If the message you're about to communicate is about trustworthiness, then have navy, have colors that are muted and calm. And then after your first meeting, after you've helped bed in a positive first impression, then you can start popping out your happy colors. But that is my third easy win. Just look at your color palette. Because when you have classic, timeless, muted a color palette, it means the people around you can focus on the message that's important.
not distractions.
And not be distracted by the messenger in the same way that I was massively distracted by my doctor.
Oh, right.
Yes,
right.
yes. And again, this is something that you are conscious of because that's where this is what you specialize in. But for most people are probably even unable to have that reflection. They just leave the office. They don't know what happened. But the same judgments are being made, and they have probably the same impacts on whether they will implement that advice. So, because again, that there's another study that we're familiar with, it's that the appearance of your physician actually impacts whether you will implement the advice, and the advice implementation has a real life impact on your health, well-being, or life sometimes even. So that's very interesting because it means that you could modify your own life if the person that you have been receiving advice from looked well or didn't look in a particular way, which I think is, again, it's a profound potentially life-changing impact that is often completely unrealized.
It's life-changing, and those three easy wins are a tool that you can use to your advantage rather than turning up at work and saying, well, I'm just wearing clothes that are practical.
Right.
Which is a default for men. Well, they're practical. Well, it keeps me warm. Well, it keeps me dry.
Well, it's a story we tell ourselves, right? Sometimes our brains like that, justifying the things that we're doing.
Now, I have an observation from when you were styled and talked with Phill, and it was that the application of the color palette and just in general the brands and the new pieces that you mentioned having at the time weren't just for work. It's like you kind of embody the image outside of that so that it's not that now, oh, now I need to put this on because I need to show up a certain way. And, you kind of over time, it seems with you,
It becomes a new default in a way.
embody
Yes,
that
that's
literally.
right.
Yeah, right. And I wonder if that's also part of this detailed kind of consult you do, because once you feel good, I mean, you said men throw away a lot of their closet, but you also wrote, I think, on your how you work with corporate and executives that men use 20% of their wardrobes for 80% of their
Hmm.
work.
Yes, because
So,
you teach styling, right? And you
Yep.
do the lunch and learn
Yep.
training for
Yep.
people working in businesses as
Yep.
well, right?
Yep.
yeah, so how do they make the most of that 20%? Does that become 80% for 100% of their life? Or how do you shift that thinking?
So, a lot of questions. Firstly, so for Matt, his new default was an authentic way of dressing. His
Yeah.
new default wasn't brand new clothes, and the old clothes were the old him, and oh, now I've got to wear these new clothes because I've just spent a fortune on them. Not that at all.
Mm-mm.
In the consultation, we talked about how do we elevate in a way that makes the new default feel authentic, and that
Mm-hmm.
is at the very heart of what I do. It has to be client focused. It has to be focused around what the client needs. Yes, I'm a stylist. Yes, I've got opinions. Yes, I look at somebody and go, this is what I can do. But no, that's not where I start. I start in a consultation with the client in order that the changing room transformation feels authentic, that the client goes, this is exactly what I was hoping for. This amount of clothes is going to transform, is going to be my new default because now I have knowledge. I
Mm-hmm.
know what suits my body shape. I know why I am wearing this. There is method and science applied behind the clothes that a client buys, which is why they become the new default, which is why the overspill is just not in the professional world, it's in their personal
Yeah.
world, it's on weekends. The wardrobe that I help men create, it does depend on the consultation. It could be it's just for this occasion,
Yeah.
it's just for that occasion, but often men want more of a 360. I want to look smarter in work, I want to look sharper, but I also want to look better. I want to narrow the swag gap.
Yeah.
The swag gap
Yeah.
Swag, yeah.
the swag gap. I'm going to talk to you about this. Where often female partner in life knows how to dress, dresses well, cares about their presentation, looks after their hair, their skin, does their makeup on a date night. You can see they put in the effort, and then what does the partner do? Well, there's a swag gap, and it's a gap for a reason. And often, and it's a big gap. And I'm happy to say that Matt's gap is not as big anymore because we've addressed that. And with men, they want less of a gap in their personal and in their
Right.
private. So that new default is their
Yeah, there's
authentic
more
them.
continuity, so it's much easier
Yes,
to
it is.
apply it.
And I genuinely say to guys, the combinations I put together for you, you should be able to get ready in the dark,
Mm.
and
Mm-hmm.
it should all work. So that's why the new default is authentic. It's not something that I project.
Yeah.
And then you talk about this 20%. 75% of men in the corporate world are doing one thing wrong. And if they change this one thing, it will affect how people perceive their competence, confidence, and character. And that's what I address in the Lunch and Learn. It's a 60-minute investment of the science behind what I do. And just by changing this one thing, they can change everything.
Yes.
And it's not necessarily about how much money, but it's the one thing they need to change. And that's in the Lunch and Learn. The 20% that I talk about is men, people, women also, we wear 20% of our wardrobe 80% of the time. That means there is a lot in our wardrobe that we're not wearing.
Yes.
And there's a variety of reasons for that. Number one, we've talked about how men shop spontaneously, last minute, they'll buy something for an occasion, they'll wear it once, it's unsuitable, it doesn't fit properly, it doesn't go with anything else, and it just sits in the wardrobe occupying space. Men have clothes that their partners or friends or people have bought for them that they're never going to wear. It's occupying space. Men have clothes that no longer fit flatter their body shape, never has flattered their body shape, not suitable for their new role. There's a whole combination. That's approximately 40% easy in the
Wow.
wardrobe that is occupying space.
Yeah.
And that is wardrobe fatigue.
Yeah.
Like every time men open their wardrobe and they're like, what am I going to wear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do I make sense of my wardrobe? That's because easily we could go through 40% of our wardrobe. I've got a document on my website in case anybody's interested. They can just look at for guidance on how they edit their wardrobe. Just to take out stuff that is occupying, and it's often if there's a cluttered wardrobe, getting dressed is more difficult. Nothing should be easier than getting dressed in the morning.
Right.
I mean, we should be able to, when
Fantastic
I was
point.
getting dressed for this today, I already had a clear idea. We had a conversation. I had a clear idea of what I was going to wear today. It wasn't tricky. I mean, I did have to steam my trousers because they'd been on the hanger a while. But apart from that, I had a clear idea.
Right.
My wardrobe is not complicated. There's a fair bit in it, as you'd expect from a stylist, but it's not massive. It works harder than it is bigger. And so
Well, it's designed to do that as well, right?
it's designed to do that.
Yes.
And it's what I design to do with other clients. So that's the 20%, 80% of the time. And a quick win with that is separating your wardrobe. I ask men and women, separate your wardrobe just in 2 seasons: spring, summer, autumn, winter. It's really that simple.
Yeah.
We're currently, at some point we'll be coming out of autumn, winter, and we'll be going to spring, summer. So pack down in a month or two time. Pack down your autumn, winter wardrobe. Shove it in those vacuum bags. Get rid of it, and before you shove stuff in those bags, just edit it. Look at stuff. Have I worn this year? Have I worn this in the last 2 years? No.
Yeah.
Am I likely to wear it? No. Get rid of it. Re-gift it. Give it a charity. Give it to somebody. Don't bin it. Don't shove it in landfill. Do something mindful with the clothes that you're no longer going to wear. Edit it. Shove it in the bag. Move out the space. You've immediately gained back 50% of your wardrobe space.
Yes. Right.
It's a game changer.
Right.
And I think the obvious thing is if half of your wardrobe is never used, right, it means that you can immediately save at least half of the money you're spending on clothing. That doesn't work, right? From the day you understand how to do that. And you also touched upon this ease of getting ready in the morning, which for me is again, that's a game changer as well. And then I learned, it's not just for me, right? Barack Obama was pretty much wearing the same outfit all the time, right? All the Zuckerbergs, the Steve Jobs, whatever they were wearing, it's consistently the same outfit. And I was like, why is that? Why is this? Why do people do that? And there are reasons, right? That reduces decision fatigue in the morning. And we need to be mindful of it, especially in the high-performing jobs, because you want to save yourself from spending your cognitive load and energy early on in the day, because you still need to make difficult decisions at 6 p.m. in the evening. So those are described, measurable things that actually do have impact on how you later perform in the day, simply by taking the load off yourself in the morning.
It shouldn't be that tricky to get dressed in the morning.
Exactly. It should be, yes.
It should be as simple as opening your wardrobe and recognizing that this is the sort of day I have today. I have to go from a board meeting to a senior account meeting, and then in the evening, X, Y, Z. What will carry me through A, B to C? Is it one outfit? Do I need to change a jacket? That's what I teach corporate gents. It's really that. It shouldn't be any trickier than that. And if it is, then it's time to reach out to a professional just to help you make different decisions, because men at that level, getting dressed should not be the most taxing thing that they have to do in the morning.
Exactly.
No, I know you work with men, but would your advice to women be very different just in general? Or how different are men and women when it comes to dressing to optimize their image?
I'm going to say Mars, Venus.
Is it? Yeah.
It is Mars, Venus.
Yeah.
It is so different.
Interesting.
It is so different.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I asked a man, how do you feel in that? Because
Yeah.
men don't feel in clothes. Like,
Yeah.
No.
how do you feel? Just make you feel good. Women feel. Like, women feel. It's emotive. Women have vocabulary about clothes that men will never understand. Women can
And colors.
start.
Colors. You see colors that don't exist either.
God, oh my
Yes.
gosh. Women have the vocabulary for every single color. Men just. It's like
RGB. Yeah, red, green, blue. That's it. That's it. Yeah.
Is it light or dark?
Yeah.
Does it suit me? Do I look fit? Can I fire somebody in this outfit? Great. Then I'm for men.
Right.
It's exactly
For men, this is how I teach
Yeah.
the students of the styling students of tomorrow. This is what
Yes.
when you're talking to men, you have to imagine that you're talking to either your dad, your brother, or your uncle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, imagine the type of terminology you're going to, and imagine you're just it's a car. It's factual. Information has to be factual for men.
Yes.
It's anything else outside of that is a waste of words. But for women, there's multi-layer engagement on conversation about clothes, and women will often at the start of a day choose an outfit based on the shoes they want to wear. Men do not understand that. Men have 1 or 2 pairs of shoes. That will do everything. Women have 30 pairs of shoes for every emotion they could possibly feel. Women feel in clothes. Men don't feel in clothes. Women understand silhouette and women. I live in a house full of women. I have 2 daughters, I have a wife, we've bought a house with a friend, we have female lodgers. I have strong women in my life. I'm going to say this from a viewpoint of a single man in a house full of 5, 6 women. I understand that women have a time of the month because my chocolate supply gets hit in my house. Okay. I know what that means. I know what that feels. So I know that women feel very different at the time of a month, and they feel fat. They feel unattractive. They feel lots of stuff.
Yeah.
Men are either fat or thin, but women feel fat or thin.
Yeah, it
at that time.
changes.
So it's a big
Over the
difference.
Yes,
It's a huge
regardless of
difference.
the actual
It's
reality.
regardless.
Yes,
I have called off styling sessions with women. I knew it was that tricky time of the month.
Yeah.
Because I know that styling session is going to be a nightmare because nothing I'm going to be able to do is going to work because
Yes,
they
that's
don't
true.
feel their better self. So men are either fat or thin. Women feel fat or thin across the
It's a
space
totally
of a
different
week.
approach to
So
what you
it's
mean. Yeah.
so different. It's
Yeah.
so different. That
Yeah.
and many other things.
Yeah.
It's interesting, but it's also real. Like whether we want to believe it or not, that's
Yeah.
just the facts of life.
Yeah.
We know how biology impacts mood, and like there's a lot of things we do in that field. So
It's my reality. I
Yes.
appreciate it may not be everybody's reality, but it's my reality. And another big difference between men and women is women's clothes, shoes, and accessory can occupy 3 floors of a department store, but men's clothes are squashed in the corner between tech, baby stuff, and skincare. I mean, literally, that's your men's stuff over there in that very
Yeah.
small corner, and these 3 floors are all dedicated to women. There's a big difference there as well.
I wonder how many men listening to this podcast will now feel, oh, I'm not as unique as I thought I am. Yes, but you're right. It's what it is, right? This is what it is.
I can tell you a horror story about advice that was given to a room of 500 women
Wow.
in professional.
Yes, please.
Okay. I forgot about this until right now. Is that okay?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
share?
of course, yeah. Go
Just
ahead.
as a side
That's what we're
note.
here for, yeah.
It was a women's leadership summit for one company.
Okay.
Banquet room, 500 people. And one of the executives was known for how she shows up in the news, and she did a lot of public relations and marketing and all of that. So she was clearly styled, but never looked comfortable. So that's a separate thing. And her best friend was a stylist, brought into this room of women because it is the women's summit. Now, this is like not everyone might identify that way. It was at the time where there was a lot of hybrid work on the computer and in person. And the woman, the stylist, all this credibility was established, right? This is my friend and this is what we do and I'm here, right? Okay, ladies, if you're on camera, make sure you wear a necklace that comes up to here and you never want to show your shoulders and you never want to do this. And this is like rooms of people who are scientists and techs and in IT and like, half the room like found like I bought a jacket on the way because it just wasn't the thing to do. And it was like the most inauthentic thing that you can say, because I think another point that we could make is there is not a blanket
There is no generic advice.
advice other than, yes, the wins and the way that you might approach your new wardrobe or how you want to look based on what you want to get out from your image is one thing, but how you actually do it takes someone like you to say,
Yeah.
that's if you want to become this level, if you want to achieve this, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. I mean, but you just show them what does. And I just still remember thinking, I mean, the woman next to me was like, I don't even own a comb anymore, right? Like, you're going to tell me I need to wear certain karat gold and it has to come here. And
Well,
if I'm,
but you said it needs to be personality, style, needs, body type, right? There is.
yeah,
I'm sure it would be very difficult or impossible to give a generic advice. I think that works for everyone. But we live in a time where people expect that. People think that, oh, there's a recording on social media. That's it. It's this diet, this approach, this thinking, this coaching, that exercise works for everyone. No, it doesn't. Never have, right? It's and not everything is easily scalable as well, right? I mean, some services or some guidance or advice needs to be individualized,
personalized.
and
Yeah.
it's sometimes in the kind of economy of scale that everybody wants to have a blanket or a one size fits all. It's just not always possible, and I think that's one of the
I think the
things that you
message
do.
is that you say is like, it does matter how you show up, but less about the way we assume. It's less about how everyone else will perceive you. It's also just how you will show up for yourself. And if you're not really working with someone in that personal, authentic way, it will have the exact opposite effect, both in how someone will perceive you and how you will show up. So,
I've turned down clients because they're not in that position where they're ready to make that journey.
Yep.
yeah.
I get people emailing me and reaching out saying, you said this in one of your posts, and you said that in one of your posts, and I don't agree. And
Yeah, you're not ready. Yeah, you're
so
not ready.
can you style me and begin a dialogue? And I just soon pick up that this is somebody not ready. Now, yes, I can give like quick wins. Of course, there are quick wins. Go to a tailor, have your clothes changed to alter you. There are, learn your body shape, dress for your body shape. These are quick wins. This is not. This is generic advice that works for lots of different people, and it's a science. So I can say to 5 people in the room, 5 different body shapes, know your body shape, dress for your body shape, go to a tailor, get your clothes to alter your body shape. That is great generic advice, which would have been totally appropriate to share for 500 women in the banquet.
Absolutely.
Because women would have gone, oh my gosh, my body shape. What is my body shape? What is my body shape?
Yeah.
And I could have said 5 body shapes. These are the 5 body shapes, generally speaking. Yes, they cross over, but these are the 5 body shapes. And this is how you dress these body shapes.
Yes.
And if you do this, you probably feel better.
And if you do this, and if you learn your body shape,
that's it.
And then if you learn your body shape, dressing it becomes easier.
Easy.
Okay, that is generic advice. But when you're sitting with me and we're having a one-to-one conversation, then that generic advice becomes tailored to you, to your budget, to your needs, to what's the brief. I had a text last night at 10 o'clock in the evening from one of my clients going, oh my gosh, we've been invited to a gala. They're probably hosting a table at a gala. And I've styled them for galas before. I know what their wardrobe is, and it is a sustainable wardrobe that they've been able to wear many times. And they've messaged me to say, we now need new outfits because same people are going to be at this gala. And so, I know them. I already thinking about what can I do for them.
Yes.
But it's it's going to be tailored to the event, to what they need. And so that's,
Yes.
Yeah.
yes,
And you
the
also
generic,
have a
yes.
relationship, as you said, with them, right? You
Yeah.
know them, you know their needs,
Yeah.
you know that, which
Yeah.
probably helps over time as well.
That helps. But even in a client consultation, Matt, I didn't know you at all. But in the consultation, super invested, and it's like speed dating. I need to get straight to the heart of who you are, what are you about, what are your expectations,
Yes.
and lots of questions.
There was a lot of reflections that I needed to. Yes,
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was.
yeah.
It wasn't just filling in a questionnaire. It was difficult.
I mean, they they're designed to help you think through the process. And if you haven't thought through that process, then I'm there to help you tease out that information. That's what makes the end result, the styling, the one-to-one, personal, because I tease that out of a consultation.
It is. Yeah, it was harder than I remember. It should be. It should have been. Yeah.
But also, you were ready for that journey.
Yes.
Guys that reach out to me, and by the way, I do style women as well, but my focus on my socials and my focus on what I do is geared at men, is geared at corporate men, busy men, men in the public eye, because generally they are realizing, oh my gosh, I need help.
Yes.
Yes.
How do I go about this? I need to bust this really quickly. And they come to me ready, willing, curious,
Yes. They're ready
interested
for change or for investment.
Yes,
Yeah.
but initially the first 5 years of my career as a stylist was all women and only women, and I worked in magazines and editorials and so that's where I learned all about women.
Yeah.
And there's only when I started working with Ben Shepherd 20 years ago, when he asked me to style him for Extra Factor, and then right across his career, I've been his stylist for 20 years, is when I focused on men. That's why I've specialized in men, and I know a lot about men. But like I said,
Yes.
I've lived my life with a lot of women.
So, Phil, we as we're wrapping up, so coming to the close, we have a little tradition on this podcast. So, Sarah, you're happy to cue
Sure.
Phil? Yes, to our little
Yes, the tradition is
tradition.
a previous guest, not knowing who you are or what we'll be talking about, gets to ask you a question. And then you'll get to ask a question to our next guest, not knowing who they might be.
Wow.
Are you ready?
This is deep.
Okay. So the question from our previous guest, it's a little bit long. If you think about something that was a win in your life or a really positive outcome that you think at the time was by chance, when you think back now, what are the steps that you took to actually get you to that place? Meaning it wasn't just luck. So in other words, what inner work or hard work have you put in that you've never given yourself credit for?
100% is the transformation, to changing room transformation for years and years. And I've worked with, where this hit home for me was when I used to do something called Tesco's Mum of the Year. There are women that were nominated to win awards because they had been through such insane stuff, and they'd campaigned governments for change of policy because of maybe they've lost a child or just some horrific circumstances. And there would be a collection of 6, 7, 8 women that were nominated, and Tesco's would run this award ceremony, Tesco's Mum of the Year, and it was massive for quite a few years. And I was the stylist that looked after the mums. And for quite a few years, I would style the mums. We'd have specific color palettes, and all this kind of stuff was really tricky because not every mum wanted to wear these color palettes. But that was my job, to kind of coach mums to wear them. And invariably, these mums would break down in tears and say, I have never felt so good. I have never felt so sexy. I've never felt so cared for as I have in this hour with you. It's an hour of my time. And there would be tears and emotion that I was not ready for. Oh my gosh. And I would just brush that off and just say, well, that's my job. It's my job. It's what I do. It's all stop. And I realized this is what I do.
Yeah.
This is how deep transformation hits. It's not superficial.
Yeah.
It's not scratching surface. It is doing something so insanely transformative on the outside that it impacts such deep layers on the inside that
Yeah.
I shrugged for years. And now I call it out for what it is, and I put it in as part of my teaching, and I say that there is transformation in the styling process, and I talk about it in consultations. I teach about it across my socials because it is my reality. That was a changing point for me, that I thought what I do matters. What I do changes people as much as counseling, as much as therapy, as much as other things that people invest in. This
Yes.
makes such a difference.
Wow.
We are such a microwave culture where we want everything in an instant.
Yeah.
We want that. And yes, styling actually, ironically, does that. It does an instant transformation. But for other, we have to work on ourselves. And my career has evolved so much over 30 years. I call myself the image coach because what I've realized is actually it's not just about styling. I offer a 360 top to toe coaching service that is more than styling.
Yes.
And that has taken a journey, and I've found wins, and I've acknowledged that what I do, it's not just what I do. Actually, there is science behind it.
So
a
where
great
people can
question.
find you, Phill? Where people, if they want to find the image coach, where should they look for?
The best place to look is my website, www.philtarling.com, Phill with 2 L's. And if you search Phill with 2 L's, Tarling, you will find all my social media. I'm on LinkedIn, so if you're corporate focused, you can follow me on LinkedIn. And obviously, all my styling advice and suggestions is also on my Instagram, philtarling.com. I was very lucky years ago, ahead of the game. I found Phill Tarling for pretty much all my socials. So that's the best place. Go to the website and everything else will follow.
Great. Well, thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure discussing all these things that we discussed, and also, well, putting me on a path of actually going into this science of how that matters, because a lot of those shortcuts, as you've described them, to instant credibility or authority, we now use in a very different way, but we now use those tools in a way they have learned from working with you, with our clients as well. So again, fantastic journey. Thank you so much.
I feel like knowledge is worth sharing, and this is something that I'm so passionate about and love sharing. So thank you for having me.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Phill.